Welcome to everybody that's out there tuning in for this live, or whether it's later when you can watch it, the video recording of it. My name is Jesse Benedetti, and we're going to get this party started. Once again, let me welcome you to how busy professionals can lose weight. They can lose fat without spending hours in the gym. They can also lose it without giving up any favorite foods. They can lose it also without failing repeatedly and not worry about failing later on. I am your host, Jesse Benedetti. Now, before I begin, I'll tell you that this webinar has two purposes, or can go for two different people. It can be beginners, people that are just getting into their fitness and their health, or it can go for other people that are more advanced, people that have actually been doing this before and they just have hit a path and they don't know where to go, how to make it a little bit more entertaining, how to get to that next level, all of that kind of stuff. It can be for any level of that type of person. So it can, if it helps you, that's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. Now, before I begin, let me make sure you're in the right place. I'm going to tell you a few little things and see if you check these. Now, if you've tried everything before, everything that you know and nothing still works, this is the right webinar for you. If you're sick and tired of starving yourself and or giving up foods over and over again only to fail, then this is for you. You're in the right place. If you're tired of feeling embarrassed or just feeling and tired of being overweight, I tell a lot of people very candidly, if you're embarrassed about being naked and you're here, then especially like after all the problems with COVID and people gaining weight, you're in the right place. You're also in the right place if you're feeling a little bit depressed or alone, hopeless even, because if you feel like it's easier for other people, then you're in the right place. Tired of making jokes about your weight just because it's a little easier than actually doing something, but it's causing a lot of emotional stress, mental stress, and anguish. This is the right place. If you just don't have enough time, the knowledge, or you don't have the understanding of how to do this, but you still want the results, you're in the right place. Or if you just feel lost and need the accountability, you've hit a wall, like I said before, and you just don't know how to move forward. You've done great, but now we're at a place and there's not in much progression. You're tired of not being in control of your health, then this is the webinar for you. If any of these or all of these ring true to you, then you're not only in the right place, but something's called on to you and you're in the right time. So we go through life a lot of the times. We lose track sometimes. I'll get to that Monday. I'll get to that next week. I'll get to that next week over and over and over again. Then eventually it becomes 5 years or 10 years. And we start to justify it more, 20 years and longer. And then we just never get around to it. And we wish that we should have, we could have, but we can't turn back the regret train. We got to keep moving forward. Now, something inside of you said, maybe today, maybe now's that time that you're ready to progress for whatever it is. Now, before I begin, let me tell you a little bit about myself in case you don't know who I am. Who am I? I am a former multiple-time U.S. and world professional dance champion. I've taught and I've coached amateurs in dancing to reach championship status. I've competed in, finished multiple triathlons, including a half Ironman. I compete currently in a category of men's bodybuilding called Men's Physique, and I own and operate an online fitness business. So you can understand when people look at me now, they think, oh, he's probably been fit his whole life. He doesn't understand how hard it is for me. He doesn't understand the time commitments, the child commitments, the family commitments. He doesn't know where I'm coming from. This has always just been something that's been a part of his life, or some variation of that. But what a lot of people don't know about me is I've actually been battling weight issues my entire life. It started when I was 8 years old. My brother committed suicide, and if that wasn't bad enough, I was the one that actually found him first. That started a spiral of being out of control, relying. This was back in the early 80s. There wasn't a lot of help for that. So I and my family took to comfort food. Food became that. You fast forward a few years, going back and forth with problems with food, with exercise, things like that. 17 years old, I get in a really bad car accident. A girl in the same car that I was in, she dies. I almost didn't graduate high school. I was in bed for 6 weeks. I broke the whole right side of my body and came close to dying myself. So again, back to the food, back to the health, back to the nutrition, back and forth over and over again. And then inner demons building up inside. Fast forward a little bit more, I'm 32 years old and I get diagnosed for bladder cancer. My doctor said it was just unlucky. There was nothing, I didn't do anything wrong in my life. It was just unlucky, wrong place, wrong person, wrong time. There's a 1 in 10 million chance of getting it. And I was lucky enough to win that lottery. So all of these things kind of link together. They start forging this path of having a dependence on food to make me happy, and other reasons that help me cope with stress. My external battle, I was just wanting to lose weight, just be normal, not have issues with food, be able to watch my weight, not have to buy bigger size clothes, not have to lie about it, not have to tell myself that it was just the washer and dryer shrinking my clothes over and over and over again. But inside, I was trying to battle my own demons. Inside, I was just trying to be proud of how I looked, how I could be my best at whatever I did. Inside, I was just trying to get some peace of mind. Now, in my mid 20s, as I told you before, in my former life, I was a dancer, professional dancer. I came to a realization one day. One of my coaches came to me and said, listen, I can give you the best choreography in the world, but it's not going to matter because one thing, you're fat. Now, it was a little bit harsh, but it was also the reality of it. It showed me that no matter how hard I was going to work, there was a certain part of me that needed to fit the part of a dancer. And what I needed to do was do something about that. I was at my biggest weight at that time at 220 pounds. And it was just too much. I needed to look the part in that part of my life. So I didn't know really what to do. So I ended up hiring a personal trainer. That was the first time I'd ever had a personal trainer, and that was my big epiphany. That was my aha moment. I realized like I didn't have to take responsibility anymore. It was going to be somebody else's calling. I told this person what I wanted. I told them how I wanted to look, and they gave me a plan. I followed that plan, trained all the time, did everything was said, dropped a lot of weight, went from 220 down to 185, dropped about 10% of my body fat. It all looks great. But then the problem is after that certain period of time, then what did I need to do? I went back to how I was eating before. It wasn't a sustainable way. Now I went like this in a cycle over and over and over again, where I cycled on and off different diet fads, different nutrition fads, different workout fads. And it was just all about whether I needed something or not, whether I need to get ready for dancing or not. And eventually the programs eventually fade out because it's not sustainable. It doesn't let me enjoy my life, all while doing the same exact thing. Now, I even got one program that was probably the best of all of them. I got completely shredded all the way down, single digit body fat. I was at the lowest point of my weight. I was doing great, looking great, getting the attention I want. And coincidentally, I started actually winning my dancing as well. So it showed and reinforced that, pushing myself like that was all worth it, which was good and it was bad. But the problem with all of that, it wasn't sustainable. And even with those goals, the dancing goals, that wasn't going to be something I was going to live with forever. And eventually the weight would come back and it would go again. It came back and it would go again. But I just realized at least I had some way in case I wanted to get to it, I could get to it. In case I wanted to be that way, I could really dial it in. And what I realized is as I got older, that same approach didn't work all the time. That same go for it. The same motivation didn't work all the time. I wasn't evolving, wasn't getting better. And at one point, just to kind of recently, the past few years, I actually tried the same goal and I failed 3 different times just because it wasn't there. I didn't want that. I didn't want that in my life. I wanted something that was going to be a little bit more sustainable or a little bit more fitting to me in my life at this moment and this time. So there was that. Then early in January of 2021, I found out that my dad died. And then right after that, 2 weeks later, I found that my cancer had come back for the 4th time. So now, not only was I having, in the process of failing at another attempt to getting myself in better shape, but now I was dealing with all the tragedy in my life with my dad and my cancer all at the same time. So it was just one thing after another. And I had all the justifiable excuses. I had all the reasons. I had everything in the world that said, well, this is what he's going through, what he's going through. And all I was thinking is I needed something besides just another challenge. I need something that I could take my life back. I needed a lifestyle change was more. And that's when I asked for help again. This time it was a little bit harder just because I had gone on my own for so long trying to do all of this stuff. But what I learned is accountability, and that help can be more powerful. Life is hard. We need something where we can get help and support, especially when it's as hard as it is, especially what's as important as our own life. So I finally learned that I don't have to struggle unnecessarily. Now, I don't have to have the support of the world, and that's fine. but one or two people or something that can be there to support me, those things can help me a lot as well. So it wasn't about having an all or nothing mindset, which is I had ingrained in myself for years and years as a learned responsibility that I had in myself over and over again. So I figured if I couldn't have it all, then I wasn't going to have anything. But I've realized that it doesn't have to be that way. So I continually work on myself, and I continually to pass that knowledge on as much as I can to the people that will listen to me. So now that you know a little bit about me, I'm going to get into this and what we came here to listen to. Now, I do talk fast, so if you want to take some notes, get it ready. Otherwise, this is a little bit of the training that we're going to talk about of how to lose fat for busy professionals. Now, I also want you to understand something, because I know a lot of people are a little bit timid coming into a webinar. There's nothing for sale at the end of this. I know there's a lot of webinars, and that's what they do. They entice you to come in at the end of it, and they say, act now, and you can get this and this and this. But this is just here to support you in any way possible. And if it resonates with you and you want my help or my support, then you can reach out. I'll give you a way to do that by the end of the talk, by the end of the webinar. Otherwise, I just hope it helps you and gives you a little bit more information and knowledge to make you a lot more stronger. Now, in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to just spend time talking about a few things, what's traditionally done and inevitably fails. I'm going to also go over the 3 big secrets or the keys that have to work together so that you can actually take full control of your health and fitness. Full control is a lot of stuff. So you can imagine it's, 3 doesn't sound like a lot, but you put them together and they're powerful, and not just temporarily, but forever. This is done with attention to fitness, nutrition, and goal setting with the accountability. That's what I want us to understand as we go through this. And after all of that, I'm going to briefly just share what I do in my 6-step program. I'm going to give you the overview of what I personally use and also what I use with my clients to help them lose the fat, keep it off, give them goals, give them game plans, how to proceed and how to make it sustainable so they can transform their body, their minds, and they can create their success stories that just get better. But first, let me just start with what's traditionally done and fails. One may sound familiar, more may sound familiar, but I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. Something that is traditionally done and typically fails at the end is it's a cookie cutter approach. You can look online right now and find multiple workouts. You can find multiple nutrition plans. You can go on Instagram and it can be so overwhelming, but it's cookie cutter because it's trying to fit the masses. It's not personalized to you. Another thing that's traditionally done is you get a virtual or an in-person trainer. Now, typically what's traditional is that in-person trainer is just working nonstop. They're working in the morning, they're working in the night, they have all kind of scattered hours. Typically, fitness professionals don't make a lot of money, so they're concentrating more on how to pay their bills. You're not the priority, and they're just trying to make you work harder because there's some reason they associate a lot of sweat or a lot of pain with a good workout, and they're trying to show you how much that you need them. So they'll make you lift heavy for no good reason. Their goals and their game plans aren't fitted around you. And the same thing with the nutrition plan. If you give them that nutrition plan, it's just something that they're getting on a website or that they make for the general masses. Another thing that's traditionally done is you're told a specific goal. By the end of these 8 weeks, by the end of these 6 weeks, by these 9 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever the goal is, and then you have something to set your path on success, but there's nothing after. What happens? You don't see the success stories where you go from, 0 to hero. And then what happens 5 years later, 7 years later, 10 years later? Are they still that hero? You don't see a lot of that stuff because it doesn't happen. You see a lot of things traditionally is that you get to that goal and you don't know how to go on from there. It's kind of like you did it and you have it, but you don't understand how to repeat it. You don't know how to do it by yourself. You think it's too hard. They've given you something that's impossible. Sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. Traditionally, you purchase a program, maybe online or in a multiple ways that you can find purchase program, Peloton, things like that. And you're left onto your own. You're trying to learn how to read all this stuff. You're trying to figure it all out. It's like the same thing if I were to just go buy a bunch of chemistry books and tried to learn how to do chemistry on my own. Maybe I could get it, maybe over a general amount of time, but just take the subject that you are the most worst at And that's kind of what the general population has on nutrition, right? You can go online and get all the type of blogs on chemistry. You can get all the types of help sessions on chemistry and look at all the stuff that I wanted to. But how much is that really going to help me if my base knowledge isn't strong to begin with, right? So, when you're left to your own accord, we can only do as much as we know, and our power is only as good as our knowledge. So another thing that happens is the fitness nutrition is handled, but you're not you're not taught about how to handle the emotional or the mental support. And that's something a lot of people don't talk about. And you're not alone in this. We all go through this. Literally, the chemical compositions in your body are changing. You're having less toxic things go into your body. Your body is able to work better. You're hitting highs that you never hit before. You're going to hit lows that you didn't. You don't know what was normal to feel like this. You don't know how to compare it to something else. You Google and all of a sudden you get overwhelmed with everything. It's just a lot of information to do and to have by yourself. Also, too often the approach can be based on like shame or guilt, like a boot camp mentality. A lot of people get out there, they like to be yelled at, they like this, but that's not a sustainable thing over time. You want something that you can look forward to, right? This should be fun. This should be something that it makes you a little bit more look forward to getting up and working out, or coming home from work and working out. This should be the thing that you look forward to, not the thing that you're trying to avoid the most. And lastly, traditionally, we try to do on our own without seeking the help, like I said before. But the problem is with, like, if we knew how to do it on our own, we'd already be at the goals that we'd want. We'd already achieve all the things that we want. I know how to do it on my own, and it's still hard to do it on my own. So just imagine how hard it's going to be for a lot of people that this isn't what they do full time, right? With all those traditional methods, some of them may resonate with you, 1, 2, maybe all of them resonate with you, but also they come with pitfalls, things that you may or may not realize are more common than you think. Most people end up quitting, right? So there's study after study after study that say a large percentage, 75 to 85% of the people 6 weeks into the new year have already given up their goals. Most people quit because it's a recipe for failure. Your progress, like I said before, is only as strong as your knowledge. Now, I hear a lot of people say, well, I eat clean, I work out often. You can do all of that stuff, but if you're not eating correctly for you, if you're not working out correctly for you, if you aren't in touch with what's going on, or at least having somebody help you know what to look for so you can learn it yourself, then none of that stuff's that's why it's so hard of a problem with our fitness and our nutrition. Mentally, we're dealing with it because there's a lot on the line, and it's all on us. We're only as good as what we know. It's frustrating. It can be discouraging, but it's everything that you know. So if you don't really truly know a lot, you only know this and that and this influencer and that, then it's going to be harder and harder. You're just going to come up short, and you're going to have to start learning again and again. So you should always be learning as you earn the gains. So another problem is that people are looking for short term. That seems to be the number one thing. How to fix this in 7 days, how to do this in 3 steps, and how to do this in 7 weeks. And I mean, it's always short term. But you have to understand, it's short term relative to how quickly you got to where you are and how long you've been where you are, right? So let's say you've been like this for the last 5 years. If you can change that in 90 days, wouldn't that be a pretty quick fix? If it's been for 5 years, it's all about the ratios and understanding that when we do that, we set up unrealistic timeframes, unrealistic goals, and it just sets up more and more failure. There's a popular saying that we overestimate how much we can do in 1 year, but underestimate in 3 to 5 years. It's the same idea in our fitness. We overestimate how much we can get done in a month or 2 or 3 even, and we underestimate how much we can get done in 5 or 6. There's a lot you can do in that small amount of time. Another thing that happens is you get injured. You get injured, you lose motivation, and that discipline wasn't there because it was just artificial. It was just something that was external motivation. So you don't have that thing, keeping you going the entire time. It ends up just quitting again. There's research that shows 25% of people that do CrossFit. Now, I'm not a CrossFit hater. I'm just telling you what the research shows. 25% of them end up with some type of surgery, needing some type of surgery of some kind. Now, it's not about me disliking CrossFit. I'm just showing you how many injuries happen with supervised workouts. Those are people being watched by fitness professionals every single workout. They have a lot of programs for that as well. Another thing that happens as a pitfall is that you end up doing really, really awesome, kind of like what I did. back in one of my goals when I got lost all that weight. But then a year later, you don't know how to sustain it. A year later, you come, you want to go on a 2-week vacation. How do you intertwine that with what you're going to do? And it's just the weight comes back. Now you're more discouraged because it all came back. You feel like you have to start all over again. And now you just don't want to. Every time that you have to start all over again, that's the bad part. You feel it. It gets heavier and heavier on your shoulders and on your chest. So now this is a huge one. The problem is that you're not illiterate. It's not that you can't read. It's not that you can't watch a video. It's not that you need any of that problems, but who's going to answer your questions? Who's going to give you the coaching and the guidance, the accountability, the motivation? Who's going to be there for you to manage your expectations? Who do you ask when you say, when this happens, what do I do? Who do you know? Who do you trust? Who like? Who's going to lead you to where you want to go? So that's a big one. Can you imagine if like you got to second, third, fourth grade and you had a good reading level, a good enough reading level, and all of a sudden they said, okay, now you're here all by yourself until the end of college. You can read, so you should be able to find out what you need to learn on your own. So we may be adults, but we have the understanding sometimes in our knowledge for fitness and nutrition of the kids that are still in that grade school, right? That second, that third, that fourth grade. It's not that we can't read. It's that we just don't know how to apply some of the knowledge or how to actually interpret some of the knowledge. Another pitfall that you encounter, that you probably encountered if you've gone through any of these things, is that you're not given enough knowledge or power to know what to do beyond that one challenge. I've talked about that a lot, is that post-challenge stuff, those post-challenge blues where you hit it and all of a sudden you're right back to where you started just a few weeks later, a few months later, if you're lucky. You're not able to handle just the lows, but the highs. We get a lot of success and all of a sudden it's hard to deal with that success. How do I repeat this? People are looking at me. I don't want to fail. So sometimes people just fail to begin with because they can't handle that kind of pressure either. You eventually just end up blaming yourself. You shame yourself. You say, I just can't do it. You blame outside things. Other negative thoughts come into play. And it's just a cycle that repeats itself over and over and over again. But here's the truth. There's only one of you in the whole world. So things that you want, the more specific that you want a goal, the more customized it has to be for you. It has to understand that you need something that's going to be there for you. You don't need somebody that's going to be a personal trainer just copying and pasting and then just going through, making you lift heavy stuff over and over and over again, or making you sweat, but not telling you why you're doing it, not giving you any information beyond that. I've been in that whole mix, as the client and as the trainer, and I've seen people around it. Those trainers aren't giving you priority. They're more concerned with how to get money in their pockets so they can afford to pay their lives. And you need somebody that's going to pay attention to you specifically. Your time is important. So you should make sure that you find somebody that values that time. The truth is that you need something personalized for you where you are in life now. How you were 10 years ago, not going to work. What your goals are 5 years from now, that's not going to work with what 10 years ago was your goal. You need to understand now, not what it says in some book, not what it says that saying that, oh, well, for your age group and for your sex and your height and this, this is what you should do. No, where are you now? What's your athletic stance now? You need to make sure that you understand and can talk to people that can give you realistic understandings of it. People that are going to push you, but also understand, like, you haven't worked out in 4 years, or you haven't worked out hard in a year, or these are the issues that you have to deal with. It's not about trying to replace something else or to take something else out of your life. It's learning how to coordinate it into your life. So you need that. Like I said before, you can look up nutrition plans online right now, but that's not going to help you if somebody's not there to help you with it. The same thing with fitnesses. You can find probably a dozen before I'm done with this sentence, if you just Google all that, but they're not specific to you. So yeah, you may get the desired result that you want eventually, but if you want good results, if you want quick results that are the least frustrating, you have to do stuff that's going to be planned more specifically towards you. It's confusing. All the influencers, all the social media, all the articles that contradict each other. You literally can hear and look up an article that fits anything that you want to hear. But you don't need stuff that you just want to hear. You need stuff that's going to fit you and your personal goals. And that's the problem. Another truth is that small goals are great, but if you're not set up with the tools or the mindset or the strategy beyond that, then you're not going to have success long term. You're going to fail and you're going to have to restart again and again. It's learning about not just restarting, but just never having to restart, learning that if you go backwards, that could be part of the process, but you haven't been taught that yet. So that's the truth. Small goals are great as long as you're building with those small goals that can make bigger goals and bigger goals from there. Truth is that you need to surround yourself with like-minded support. This can be done with one person, two people, a group of people, but this is hard. It's hard because the more successful that you get, the harder it's going to be to find that. That's why 2/3 of our country are obese or overweight. It's hard finding people out there that are going to be having of like mind to give you that support. So you've got to be confident in what you're doing. You got to surround yourself with as many people as you can, finding people to boost you up and pick you up and give you that accountability that's going to help raise the chances. It can raise the accountability can help raise the chances of your success up to 95%, aside from just setting the goal itself. So you need to make sure that you're not just focusing on changing your lifestyle with your fitness and nutrition, but like I said before, with your emotional composition, knowing what to expect, having those understandings that like when you succeed and you feel this is what's going to happen. This is commonly what's happened. This is sometimes what happens. If you can go into it, it's a lot better facing stuff. They always say that ignorance is bliss, but it's not when it comes to fitness and health. Knowing at the end of a 3-month process and you drop 30 pounds, that if you take a couple of days off, you may gain 10 pounds back. Why? We have water weight. It talks about, I mean, you're not gaining 10 pounds. There's in a couple of days, you would have had to eat over 35,000 calories. Now, it may feel like you ate 35,000 calories in a couple of days, but it's virtually impossible. You know, even Olympic swimmers like Michael Phelps would eat 10,000 calories. That's in a day. So in a couple of days, he still couldn't eat 35,000. But if you don't have those expectations, if you don't know those little things at the end of it, what to expect, and that it can be that you can get that off within 2, 3, 4 days. You know, I use myself for an example. Is I just got done competing in a fitness competition this past weekend. I had a day and a half where I just ate whatever I wanted to. I put on 13 pounds from where I was the competition day. But I've already dropped 10 pounds within 3 days. That's understanding. So I didn't come on the scale, get on the scale Monday and get panicked because I had gained 13 pounds. I understood the process. I understood what's going to happen and what's going to get me there. And that's the understanding is you got to have people around you that are going to help you get those realistic expectations. You already feel enough shame as it is. You need people that are going to support you. Also, a big truth in today, we're all impatient. We want things now. We have the technology. It is the technology age, but there's nothing that's going to replace hard work. You can't outwork bad habits and bad nutrition. So it's about breaking that comfort zone a little bit because it's comfortable having bad habits because it's what you've done for so long. But it's not impossible. It's possible if you want it badly enough. It's not just training our body, but it's training our mindset. Because most people want permanent change. That takes some time. But just like we talked about with your health and fitness, it may have taken you decades to get where you are now mentally, but it can be fixed. It can be gradual fixes. You don't want anything that's just going to flip a switch and all of a sudden you get it. It's too overwhelming and that's hard. Those aren't sustainable results. More importantly, they're not mentally and physically healthy long-term. Real changes, lasting changes, they take time. You know, the real truth is that this is and it is not your fault. When you fail over and over and over again, it's not your fault because you don't have the knowledge yet, but it is your fault because maybe you're not seeking the knowledge. You're trying to still do it on your own. We're trying to do the tried and true. This has worked for me before, but how much has it really worked for you? You have to be honest with yourself. That's the truth. It can be an overwhelming process. It's a journey that you have to go through, and it's even harder if you try to go through it alone. That's why a lot of the majority of people fail. It's not something that we're meant to do alone. If you're not set up for long-term success, then you're only going to enjoy the short-term success that comes with general fitness and general nutrition plans. If you go through all of that alone and you can't learn to take the control as you're going through it, then it's just something that you're going to go through over and over again. It's the same thing about insanity. You can't expect different results from the same things and the same actions. So I want you to be able to get to a point, but the truth is we don't get to a point where you can go out and splurge or miss a workout and not feel guilty about it. But that is possible. I've been there. I go through it. It's something that you can do. You have to understand where to get those and what to expect from it so you can live your life. Sometimes we just live our life with the anxiety of not knowing. If we had the power and the control, it would be a lot less anxiety producing. So you just have to understand We can't figure it out. I can't figure it out by myself. You can't figure it out by myself. And it's just making sure that you're ready to embrace a lot of the struggle and a lot of the pain. But if you can do all of that, then if you can learn to exercise more efficiently and effectively daily, then you don't have to spend all the time in the gym. You don't even have to go to the gym itself. That was the reason I really loved the time that I got with people during the pandemic. I was able to show them how to make them understand that any space and any time can be good for fitness. It doesn't have to be 45 minutes. It doesn't have to be 2 hours. It can be 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You have to relearn how to make fitness fun, how to make it your friend again, how to associate it with positive reinforcements. And then you'll start looking forward to those workouts, and you'll start fitting workouts in here and there a lot more effectively and efficiently than you were before. And now all of a sudden, now you're working out a little bit more consistently. Also, if you can learn to eat better, have better choices, not necessarily cut stuff out, have better portions, not necessarily have to be restricted from anything, then you can have better control of your overall fitness and overall health. It's just like one of my clients, Dave. He is 63 years old, over 300 pounds. He works and he travels, is on the go all the time. He basically had come to the point where he had to make a decision whether he was really going to try to lose some weight or he's going to have surgery, one way or the other. And having surgery at 63 and being that large of a person is not a very safe thing. So he decided to do some changing with it. He educated himself, helping educate him, give him positive choices, portion controls, understanding how to do it. Even in the first 5 weeks, he's already dropped 25 pounds, walking 10 minutes at a time, eating better portions, eating more food than he was eating before, actually. If you get truly taught how to integrate the fun foods in with everything that you're already eating and drinking, then it becomes more of a fun game, a challenge of how to eat things, when to eat things. It's a strategy. It's a lot more of a fun undertaking than thinking that, oh, I've just failed everything, I've got to start all over again. You start to see food differently, and you start to realize how much control that you can actually have over your mind and your body. If you can learn to accept a little bit of help, learn to take that accountability and use that accountability to help you instead of to make you feel guilty or shame. Nobody's here to judge you. I'm not here to judge you, that's for sure. You're gonna learn how to actually use all the tricks. Here's a pro tip. Here's a nice little pro tip. All these things that influencers give you, how to lose 10 pounds in 3 days, how to get abs, rock hard abs in 2 weeks, all these pro tips, you have to start from some baseline that you're not at yet, right? So yeah, I can tell you how I lost 10 pounds in 3 days, but you're not where I am in my own physical journey, with my own nutritional journey. And it's not healthy to try to do those things. I'm only able to do this because I understand my body and I understand how to use my body, because I've spent the last years and years learning how it's worked, and it changes over time. And it's the same thing for everybody else, but it took me having to put myself out there and let go of my pride and my ego and learn. The secret is that there's no secret. Anything that you need has to have that strong foundation first. Then all of those things are a little bit more applicable. Is yoga better than resistance training? All of this stuff, you have to learn what's best for you on any given day. There's not one absolute for anybody. So before I created my program, I was like that too. I was always looking for the quick fix. I was always looking for the newest trends. I was always looking for the diet that was going to give me those rock hard abs from somebody that's never even been overweight, right? I was always blaming outside circumstances. I was too busy because I was working. I was full-time dance professional, and I was traveling all over the place. And granted, it doesn't matter how much you dance, your body eventually gets used to it. And if you eat like crap and you get older, then it doesn't respond the same way. So it's the same idea. I was too busy. Excuse me. And then it was just trying to blame my genetics, everything I could blame, because it was a lot easier than being in denial. It was a lot easier being in denial than just saying, oh, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not working hard enough, or I'm not working long enough. I was doing all of those things. I thought. So trying to copy what worked for someone else is kind of like trying to copy answers for a test that doesn't have the same questions. If you put down answer A because he put down answer A, if they're not the same question, there's a chance it may or may not work for you. It's the same thing in your fitness and your nutrition. We need to take this a little bit more seriously because it's your personal health. We try too often to do things on our own when we shouldn't. You would get it done a lot quicker, and you would get it done with a lot more positive feelings, positive reinforcements. We can learn as a team a lot more effectively than we can do something by ourselves. You'll start to see less and less support from the people and pull away from those people that aren't on the same page with you. And you're going to get stronger and more confident and more courage with your own convictions of what you're doing, because you're surrounding yourself and understanding that it's not just you. There's other people that want that greatness for themselves too. Surrounding yourself with supportive people that can help you, that have been where you are, that are going through their own journey also. Now, if you can get all of that stuff, it sounds like a lot, but if you can get all of that stuff and you can work on all three of those keys consistently, then you can do that. You can lose the weight. You can be as busy as you want to, lose the weight without all the hours in the gym trying to negate the bad nutrition. You can learn how to eat better, which is going to make sure that you don't have to give up stuff. And you're going to learn how to have that accountability so you don't fall off that wagon over and over again and realize that wagon was really never there. You just had to understand how to ride it. You know, it's you can be in full control of your body and mind. Sometimes a lot of people don't want that kind of responsibility. It's just like one of my clients, Ronald, within the first 5 or 6 weeks, was able to drop about 25 pounds. When he first started with me, he told me 3 different weights. One, they kept going higher and higher because he was just embarrassed about what to say. But when he started dropping that weight, 25 pounds in, he started becoming a little bit more confident. I started to see a little bit more. That's what those 3 areas are. And you have to be taught those 3 areas, not just listen about this stuff. We teach our clients how to be successful in those 3 areas in the program. It's not just me setting up something for you and you following without thinking, right? So let me actually take you through in the next few minutes, just those quick 6 steps that we use in our transformation program. And I say we because there's 2 coaches. It's me and my fitness partner in crime, Lisa. So both of us gives double accountability, double success rates, double support, double everything, double your fun. There's 6 steps in our program that we go through with our clients that give them exactly what they need that's personalized to them. First, we assess where they are, not where they were, not where they're going, but where they are and how to get to where they're going, where they are in their circumstances now and what got them to this place. We find out more about who they are and where they're coming from. Second thing we do, we give them personalized fitness. We give them personalized PDFs so we can follow it. Personalized nutrition plans for them, when to eat, how to eat, access to both of us throughout the whole process so that you're learning as you're going. We're making sure that you hear from us all the time to make sure that we're talking at least once a week with our clients to make sure what's going on with everything, questions, comments, concerns. We help you to learn with everything, not to feel guilty, but to feel success all the time from everything. Even the failures are successes if you see it correctly. The step number 3, we tap into the accountability factor. We monitor, we check in with you, like I was saying before. We give you text support over the phone. We give you email support. Whatever you need, we're there for you to help support you as long as you're ready to put the effort in. So the next 90 days, they have 2 experts working hand in hand with them to help teach them, believe in themselves, give them the confidence, not feel hopeless, not feel depressed, be more proactive, how to be more proactive, how to be more knowledgeable, all those great things. We go to step number 4, we continue and we alter it. That's another thing that gets missed traditionally, is continuing to alter. We have a set plan that starts one place and it ends with the same thing. Well, that has to be altered based on how you're responding to things. You have to learn how to monitor yourself and adjust. Your body is a living natural organism that goes through a lot of different things, highs and lows, and you have to be able to know how to adjust that. And step number 5, we talk about the overwhelming feelings. We talk about all of this stuff. So what to expect, how to cope with it, tell you what's normal, what's not normal, what's to panic about, what's not to panic about. We take that responsibility and put it on our shoulders. And we helped you to go into step number 6, which is going to help you see the results that you need after that 90 days to help to build another success story for you. Now, just a little FYI before I wrap up here, if you are interested in that program, this is not a program for people that are just looking to drop a quick 5 to 10 pounds, right? Like I said before, it's a lifestyle change. It's not for people that are just looking to get ready for beach weather or a wedding or this or that. It's for people that really want to make changes in their life. This is not for people who aren't ready to stop partying or they live to eat or a foodie. You can be a foodie and you can live to eat. And I promise you, it tastes a heck of a lot better if you're doing it with portions and moderations and learning how to appreciate food. The greatest appreciation is not overindulging; it's appreciating it by eating it in portions. Right? It's the same thing in life. Same thing here. It's not about. I don't say stop partying. I don't stop partying. but there's a time and a place for everything. It's just people that's not for is ones that are ready to party all the time. This is not people, it's not for people who aren't ready to work hard or just looking for a new fad or fitness. It's for people that are really serious. It's not for people who just want to, that don't want to sustain something long term. They don't want to have long term results. Additionally, it's not for people who want to make excuses or keep playing the victim card. There's no victims in our program. You have to be open-minded. You have to be ready to listen to a lot of stuff. You must be willing to go outside of your comfort zone. You have to invest 90 days into something yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, and to endure all of that stuff and come to the fact and realization that what you have been working towards and what you have been working on doing up until this point has led you to where you are. So maybe there is a different path, right? If you feel like you're ready to make that change, then I'd be happy to talk to you. I'd love to talk to you. If this is right for you and you feel like resonates with you and you're ready to take an action, then you can contact me just by the email that I gave you to get to this with your link. You can just set up a time. We can set up a schedule of time, see if this is right for you. Reach out, book a call, and I can listen to you where you're at, see if we can go forward with that. If we take this phone call, I want to make sure it's an absolute fit. That's why we do this, to see if we're aligned. Our program is aligned with your goals and to give you support in any way possible in your fitness journey. If it's right for you, if it's not right for you, I'll tell you either way and try to give you the best support if I'm not the one for you. Lastly, I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I hope you got a lot of value out of this training, and I hope to get a chance to talk to you soon. I hope you have a good rest of your night, rest of your weekend. See you later. Bye. Peace.